So let's be real. When we started off this run, this was not meant to be a tutorial video. This was supposed to be a speed run that we were gonna do. And honestly, I didn't have the elixirs on me, so I just threw on a random thorn elixir, I think it was, and we go ahead and ran in and ran this. But yeah, this is Chieftans Throneroom. This dungeon is pretty fun after the first boss. It can get annoying if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you don't know the boss's mechanics. On the way to the boss, there are a lot of mini boss fights, a lot of mob fights that you have to just go ahead and clear. This first room that we're in here is usually crowded with mobs and a mini mob boss that you have to fight. If you're up at the fire, he will run to the fire, and he'll constantly run to the fire to see who's up there for some reason. But he'll make his way back down if everybody runs down. This is the guy right here. This is Chief. These guys really don't have any mechanics that you have to worry about. They're just regular, like, monsters, just more HP, higher attack. It's just stuff like that. There are 2 of these guys you have to fight before you get to the first boss. 3 if you go ahead and count the dragon, which is a very optional fight. I will try to show you the way to get to the dragon. I didn't record that part in this. It's not really an important part. There's a chest over there sometimes. This is the second mini boss. This guy, if not everyone's up here, he will aggro onto the person that is not up there, and he will try to run out and reset himself every time. So he'll try to run down the stairs, and he'll run back up here and reset his HP back to 100. And you cannot kill him no matter how hard you try. His HP will stop at 1. He'll go through this little scene right here where he stuns you, and he'll run across the bridge where his HP will reset again to 100, and you have to fight him all over again. When you run across the bridge, he's going to throw back some dynamite to make it harder for you to get across the bridge. You saw I got stuck on a mob here. Generally, you want everyone to get across the bridge so you don't have to deal with being stuck on the bridge. We always mess this up. That's just the Straw Hat way. We don't do mechanics for some reason. So, yeah, this is the other mini boss fight right here. Like I said, this is the other section of mobs right here. If you go the opposite way of where we're at on the map, that is where the mini boss dragon is. It doesn't drop anything. There might be a chest over there depending on where the spawn location is. The dragon doesn't, the chest isn't 100% anything. It's one of those ancient chests that spawn in the dungeon, so take your chance with that. Alright, this is the first boss, Snitch. Now, Snitch is very, very annoying. Whenever Snitch jumps, it's to start the fight, he will call down boulders. Well, not really call down boulders. He'll make boulders fall off the ceiling. And if you are in the shadow where the boulders fall, they will actually fall on you and deal damage or stun you. Usually his second jump is his wing flap. Sometimes he spams back the stone attack. You see here, Snitch also breathes fire, and if his fire hits one of the dynamite crates, which room is full of dynamite crates, and these are here for a reason, it will blow up and deal damage to everyone in the nearest area around the dynamite crate. At 75%, 50%, and 25%, Snitch will turn into stone or cover his body in stone, and then the Shadow Eyes mechanic will activate, where he puts a mark over you, which looks like shadowy eyes. That's how you know he's targeting you. At that point, the person with the eyes over you needs to run behind one of the barrels and stay behind one of the barrels. The dragon will then ride into one of the barrels, and if it hits the barrel, which sometimes it glitches out and doesn't register, that the barrel didn't even touch the barrel, even though it ran straight through the barrel, it will blow up and will go into a phase where the dragon is laid out, and you get a chance to deal a lot of damage to the dragon. Well, I didn't intend this speedrun to be a walkthrough video. You're pretty much going to see what's supposed to happen when it comes to you dealing damage to the boss at a high rate. He's just going to burn through the mechanics, and you're going to get to go through dealing damage phase after damage phase. And that's going to be pretty much it for the boss fight. He fights like a regular wyvern out in the wild. If you fought stone wyvern and fire wyvern, you know what I mean. He does the jump up and down, which triggers the rocks, which there are no rocks in the wild, so you don't get that part of the mechanic. He breathes fire. He does the walk forward where he smacks you with his wings, his wing claws, whatever you want to call those. And he does the tail whip as well, which is another thing. And then he does the wind gust every once in a while, but you'll rarely see that over the stone fall mechanic like you see right here. To avoid the stones, all you really need to do is just avoid the shadows, like I said before. Sometimes it'll glitch and you won't see a shadow and you'll still get hit by a stone. I really don't know what to tell you about that. This boss is really, really buggy. Sometimes the boss will ride into the first gate where you come into, and if he gets stuck in that gate for too long, it'll reset the boss completely. It's happened to us 3 or 4 times. I've reported every bug this boss has to the GMs, and we'll just see whenever it gets fixed. Another bug that can happen is if not everyone is on this section of the bridge when the cutscene goes off, the boss will respawn and it will start attacking people during the cutscene. And you'll see in the bottom right corner, it'll say the boss battle has begun, and it's constantly going to say the boss battle has begun until the cutscene's over and you realize everyone's dead, and you just have to respawn at that same pyre that spawns right there and then jump off and fight this next mini boss. Now, this guy's pretty easy to fight. He's a mini boss. His mechanics don't have anything to do with the dungeon, to be honest. It's a really easy fight. You just have to press the buttons at the right time and deal damage whenever you're finished pressing the buttons. So what I mean is that there are these little 2 things of TNT out there by him. What you do is that one person go up and you activate the TNT. When it's activated, you'll see the bomb fill up with orange like it did on the side on the left. And then when he does that, it'll blow off his barrier and you'll be able to deal damage to it. He's going to stand up, and then you're going to have to time it to where you activate it again by the time he stands up to activate the next bomb. So you'll knock him back over and just do that constantly over and over. You can activate both of the bombs. You're just going to waste time if you do that, though. It's not going to make him stay down any longer. You just have to really time it back to back to back. The bombs do hit you, and they will hit him, so they'll knock you out of your combos if you're up there when a bomb is activated. What you have to do is keep rotating those mechanics. Have one person set off the bomb before he stands up, just a little bit before he stands up, and it should explode by the time you get up there. Now, going towards the next boss, there are barrels on the sides that you kind of just want to avoid. Our guild kind of trolls around with them. We weren't doing it this round because we kind of just wanted to go ahead and push through and speedrun this, like I said. Usually we troll around and knock people off with these. I suggest you don't do it if you're with randoms, because people will get angry at you for trolling them with these bomb barrels. They'll knock you off. Berserkers will lose all their rage. And we don't build rage up passively like most classes. Mages will lose all their mana crystals, and they'll have to sit there and build up mana again. Just stuff like that that's really annoying for certain classes, especially if you're trying to speedrun a boss or run through a boss quickly and efficiently. And this second boss is not one that you want to play around with, first of all, so it kind of just makes sense not to mess around when it comes to that boss. Now, the second boss is named Kaboom, and yeah, this guy it's a really fun, tricky style boss. I've heard people compare it to a Savage Raid from Final Fantasy because of all the things going on at once. And yeah, it's just a really fun fight for me, to be honest. Once you get used to the fight, you'll be able to just see what he does and be able to avoid it. It's really easy to do. So I'm going to say this as the boss fight starts. Do not burn this boss down when you first start the fight. Do not quickly deal a lot of damage to him constantly, because he will skip a mechanic and the entire team will die automatically. Do not pour damage into this guy once the fight starts. If you get him to around 85%, he'll go into a phase where he starts this big bomb like you see here. And if he doesn't put the bomb above someone's head to create the sticky zone, that's their safe zone pretty much, if he doesn't do that, you're all dead because you're all going to fly off. There is a trick to where you can stand between him and the bomb and take damage and not fly off, but it's a really risky trick, to be honest. So just don't deal too much damage to him in the beginning of the fight before he gets to, like, I want to say 85%. I think that's around where he does that mechanic. Just be careful when it comes to that point. Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on the screen. At 95%, he does call down a barrel of TNT, and that was in the beginning of the video. I skipped that part just to preface the rest of the fight so you don't screw yourself over. But the TNT does go across the field in a vertical and a horizontal motion in a line. Like if you're playing Bomberman, if you ever play Bomberman, it's one of those type of deals. And any TNT that interconnects with another one will explode the other barrel of TNT. So this is a lot going on at once, because he will set bombs, he will throw dynamite, and he'll still be attacking you at the same time as he is doing all these other mechanics. So we're going to play this boss fight over because I had to give you that very long and important warning. It was very important, like I said. But at 95%, the boss is going to call down a bucket of TNT. And on top of that, you'll see a stick of dynamite that will load up its color from being black to orange. As it goes up, you'll see the lines on the floor that go across from side to side, and vertical and horizontal, pretty much across the field. If it lands in the center of the field, it's going to be across, and wherever those lines are, you don't want to be when they explode because it will blow you off the field or blow you back 2 stages from where you're standing. If you are facing towards the barrel, it'll knock you back to wherever you were. I want to say that's kind of the correct phrasing for that. The boss does have a few knockdowns and knockback attacks. They are comboed because if he knocks you down, he'll continue to attack you, and it'll turn into a combo to where he could potentially knock you off. So you want to avoid his attacks as much as possible. The goo is your friend. I'm not going to say this again. Besides now, the goo is your friend. As you stand in the goo that is created by the bomb that was over your head, which he puts over your head every time before he does the mechanic, that is a very big bomb that spawns, that he attempts to knock everyone else off. That bomb will knock you off 100%. But that goo, actually, when you stand in it, gains you stacks. And the stacks will build up to 9, and if you let them build to 9, they will stun you, but you'll be stuck in that spot. So if you're stuck in that spot, you won't be able to be knocked off, you won't be able to be knocked back, and you'll be in a little safe zone. Because we're speedrunning this, you don't get to see the mechanics as they're supposed to pop up. And I've done nothing but speedrun this with guild members, so I don't really know the timing for the mechanics. We don't generally like to stick around on this boss too long because it gets frustrating if you start to fail. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that fight, to be honest. Just watch out for the bomb lines. It's a lot. The faster you kill the boss, the more things are going to go on constantly, because all of his mechanics start to run together, especially when you get him down to around 20%. If you get him to around 20%, his attacks will go off constantly, and if you let him berserk, he will drop barrels everywhere, and the barrels deal a ton more damage. The bomb he puts over your head deals a ton more damage. The TNT he throws up in the air that lands on you wherever you're standing does a ton more damage. It's just a lot to go on. And then this is the last section right here where there is another set of mini bosses up ahead, as well as a bunch of mobs. What we do is we pull all the mobs back towards this corner back here, or well, this entrance back here for the final boss, and we let them all gather up, and then we fight outwards. So we push outwards and like kill them all in the waves that they're in. Some people don't do this. Don't be angry if people don't do it. I mean, it's kind of the easier way to do it because as a berserker, I'm running Earthbreak. I just get to mow everything down at once. The mini bosses aren't really annoying besides the fact that this one with the pickaxe or the sword, the one with the pickaxe on his back, but here's a sword, he will actually do an attack that will knock you up and down when he does that smoke spam thing that he does, as you see there. And he will spam it over and over, and it does a ton of damage back to back if you're not wearing, proper gear, and it will hurt. So just avoid that part completely if you're in there. If you're a long range class, just stay out of it. If you are a close range class, just do whatever you can to stay alive. It's very tankable. Alright, now this is the last boss. This is Dirkhook's Wyvern, and on top of it is Dirkhook, of course. This boss has a few mechanics that go on depending on where you get him to during the fight. What I mean by that is that at 75%, 50%, and 25%, the boss will do the Shadow Eyes mechanic and it'll turn into stone. At that point, it's going to rush at whoever has a Shadow Eyes mechanic, and you want to lead him to one of the statues in the room. Generally, you want to lead him to green rather than blue for easy combat through the rest of the dungeon, because it makes the run a lot easier, to be honest. A lot of people do it the opposite way. They do blue, green, then red. I don't understand why they do it that way, because I'll explain that part later. But the dragon fights like a regular dragon until he gains whatever these statues that he activates. Whenever he activates the statue, he gains whatever unique effect the statue represents, which is a mini boss, or one of the old bosses. So the statue is going to come to life as one of the old bosses revived. It's going to have lower HP, lower attack. It's not going to be as bad as it was, but it will deal quite a considerable amount of damage if you don't have enough gear score, HP, defense, whatever. When the dragon is charging, whoever has the Shadow Eyes mechanic, do not get in the dragon's way, even if you're not the person that's being targeted, because it will one-shot you pretty much. The dragon will rush at you until you die, and then it'll keep going to whoever the next person is with the Shadow Eyes mechanic. Even if you don't have it, it's just going to keep going to that person. So when a dragon gets the first stone, if you go to the green one, he's going to get the wind powers, which is going to make his wing flap turn into tornadoes that shoot outwards. Once he gets the second boss one, which is going to be Kaboom, The second boss will give him dynamites that explode and leave a trail of fire. Now, the third one is going to be Chef Ramsay. And Chef Ramsay is usually the most annoying one because the dragon goes from breathing stone breath, which he does normally, to breathing fire breath. And that also leaves a trail. Now, if you give him stone breath and if you give him fire breath and the TNT trail of fire, you kind of see where it gets annoying if you give him those too early. So you generally just want to avoid giving him fire breath because he does breathe fire a lot. When he gets fire breath, he does breathe stone a lot, first of all. And as you see, he does jump a lot. So you want to avoid giving him those two first because it just makes the fight a lot more annoying. But he does gain those extra enhancements when he activates the statue. So just, you're going to have to activate the statue regardless. So just go ahead and make sure you do it in the right order. That makes it easier for the rest of the team. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helps you out when it comes to running Chieftans Throneroom. I know a lot of people are having trouble running it, especially because this is a dungeon that people need to run to get their offhand weapon. And that's keeping the offhand weapons prices on the market really high because a lot of people don't know how to run it. So if you know someone that does need to learn how to run Chieftans Throneroom, kindly direct them to this video. Hopefully it helps them out when it comes to running Chieftans Throneroom. Let me know if I did mess up on anything because I do mess up. I'm human. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the future. Peace.